guys, it's Gretchen and welcome back to my channel. It is that time of the month again where I answer your body mod questions. If you are new to my channel, this is something that I do every single month. It is my body mods Q&A. You can ask me questions and they may show up in this type of video. So if you would like to ask a question for August's body mod Q&A, leave them in the comments below or head on over to Instagram and wait for me to post a little question box in my stories and you can ask it there. Victoria asks, is it possible to stop your ears from stretching? Pretty sure it is possible to stop them from stretching, but it really depends on the type of jewelry that you wear. So if you wear something that's heavier like stone, there's gonna be a little bit of stretch over time. May not be a lot, and it also kind of depends on the size you're currently at. So picking jewelry that is made of more lightweight material will either cut down on the potential for stretching more or just eliminate it in general. So once you've stretched your ears to a point that you like, once they've healed at that state, doing things like silicone is really good. I currently have silicone in mine. Super lightweight, don't notice any kind of stretching at all. Sometimes I'll put stone in if I want to jazz things up a little bit. I do really enjoy stone. Glass is another good one, though glass is a little bit more lightweight than stone is. I haven't tried other ones yet like wood, but wood also, I guess it kind of depends on if it's hollow or not, will be lightweight. So it really depends on your current size as well as the material of the jewelry that you have in. Fleur asks, can I wear my hair down with a new piercing? Absolutely. I have a brand new piercing over here. At the time of me filming this, it's a little over a week old. My hair is down, covering it up. You just have to be mindful when you have a brand new ear piercing and you do have hair that can potentially touch it, because if you brush it out of the way and it gets caught on that new piece, it's gonna hurt a little bit. So yes, you can wear your hair down over a new ear piercing, but just be kind of mindful of it. Linda asks, when you stretch up a size with a taper and put the jewelry in, can you put in anything or do you have to use the tunnels that came with the kit? If not, how long should you wait before putting in decorative pieces? So when I did my stretches, I ended up using the jewelry that came with the tapers, so like whichever one matched up with it, but I didn't do it for very long. There were also some steps in there where it didn't come with jewelry, so like that 1 gauge step that sometimes people either skip over or just don't know exists. I had a glass plug that I used for that. So you don't necessarily need to. It does make it easier because sometimes the tapers do screw onto the tunnels and just make it easier to pull through. My focus would be more on the type of material that you put in initially. Don't do anything like wood, silicone, plastic, stick with glass, titanium, stainless steel, things like that, because that's better for a healing process. So long story short, no, you don't have to use what comes with the kit. It just sometimes might make it easier. Does that make sense? JS Injection asks, do you think I'd be able to hide a septum piercing from my parents? I'm of age but still live with them and they're really conservative about body mods. Septum is one of those piercings that if you're trying to hide it for whatever reason, it could be from parents, it can be from employers, whatever your reasoning is, septum is going to be the easiest one to hide, just because if you have like a horseshoe jewelry in there, you can easily flip it up and no one's going to be able to tell. But I say this knowing that you're of age. If someone younger is watching this and going like, oh, I want to get this done, but my parents say no, but I want to be able to hide it, it's not worth it. I promise you it's not worth it. Just wait until you are of age and can do those things yourself. Just wait. Emily asks, have you ever used emu oil on any of your piercings? I have not, just because you do have to kill the emu in order to get the oil because it comes from the fat of the emu. That upsets me. So no, I haven't. Allison asks, what tips or advice would you give someone who's planning to get a nipple piercing? Also, do most people get both done or is it just personal choice? So as someone who doesn't have their nipples pierced, but is thinking about it, I'm not sure what specific advice I'd give regarding this piercing. Anyone who does have a nipple piercing, please feel free to chime in the comments, just because I have not personally experienced it before, so I don't have specific advice regarding that piercing. As for whether people get one done or both done, that is definitely a personal preference thing. A lot of the times I've heard people get one done, let it wait, and then get the other one done. But there are those times where people are like, let's just get them all done at one time. So I think that one really does come down to personal preference. I also hear a lot that people will be like, oh, my left one was fine, but my right one hurt so bad, or, you know, vice versa, or something like that. The body is very interesting. But as for advice, you know, as someone who, it's kind of in the back of her mind about getting done, anyone who has their nipples pierced, leave any specific advice you may have regarding that piercing. Like, I can give you advice just as general piercing advice, but specifically for nipples, I don't have much because I haven't personally gone through it myself. Maddie asks, are you ever worried about the scarring that your facial piercings will leave? Not really, because you can diminish the look of scarring, which is one reason why I have bio oil, because I use that on my weight loss surgery scars and they're like non-existent now. Bio oil, I swear, is the best thing ever for scarring to diminish the look of it. So I've never really thought about how they'll look once I take my piercings out. If I get to that point of taking them out, letting them close up, everything like that. I've never really been nervous about how scars will look because I know there are means to diminish the look of them. Now I know they may not go away entirely, but that also doesn't bother me for whatever reason. I guess I just have enough like little scars on me, like especially on my stomach from the weight loss surgery, that I'm just like, what's another little tiny dot? Michael asks, what piercings do you think would go well with a Duff? I mean, I think any would go pretty well. I do think if you got a Duff done and then got like a Rook done, I think that might almost be too cluttered and they might hit each other, so I might avoid that combination. But anything else, like I've got my Duff done over here as well as a tragus. At first I thought that it'd be a little cluttered, but it's not. So I think anything would go well with it other than the Rook, just because it's so close and they might accidentally hit and get a little messy in there. So I think that's the only thing I'd avoid. Anything else I feel like would go great. LL asks, if I were to go up a gauge for nipple piercing, how would I do it safely? Again, I don't have personal experience with nipple piercings, so I'm going with what I think is correct. Anyone with nipple piercings, please correct me in the comments. I imagine it would be the same as your stretched lobes, except for it might be better to not use a taper. Just the thought of a taper going through my nipples really just kind of makes everything hurt. So maybe dead stretching, or maybe you can use tapers. Maybe I'm just thinking too much about that. I think if I were to do it, maybe I would just do dead stretching. Just taking the jewelry, kind of seeing how it goes. Go very slowly with the process, much like stretching earlobes. My people with nipple piercings, please drop your advice, your comments, your personal experiences below, because now I'm curious. Lindsay asks, what is your favorite style of tattoos? Mine is definitely neo-traditional. I've never really thought about what my absolute favorite is. I do like color tattoos. I like black and gray ones, but like for me specifically, I like color tattoos. So like that's a broad style that I like, but I'm not entirely sure if there's like a specific one that I like. I do love neo-traditional myself. I just love how everything pulls together for a neo-traditional. I don't want to sit there and be like, oh yeah, that's my favorite style, and then like represent other styles like on myself personally. So I'm not sure I have like a specific favorite style. I have ones that I enjoy more than others. So I will say I used to dislike like traditional style tattoos, and now they're kind of growing on me. Take that for what it's worth. Speedies asks, did you have struggles with your tragus piercing? Could you wear earbuds after getting it pierced? I definitely had struggles with the first one that I had done, which was this one over here on my left ear. I had major issues with that one. It was like a whole big granuloma. It popped when I tried to change the jewelry. That was gross. I was not able to wear earbuds directly after getting it pierced. I think I did wait 6 weeks before I attempted to put earbuds in there. In the meantime, you can do over-the-ear headphones to just kind of protect that piercing from getting hurt or anything like that, or irritated. But yes, I definitely struggled with the first one I had done. The second one I had done on my right ear, not bad at all. Just kind of depends. Miss Violet asks, views on Snug and antitragus piercings. I'm considering them. The only thing that I really know about them, like you hear about the Snug having like a difficult time healing. I love the look of an antitragus. I've actually kind of like plopped that on my potential piercings list because I do really enjoy the look of those. I enjoy the look of Snugs, but I also just hear way too many negative things about those and I don't want to deal with that. But I think both look really cool. I don't really feel one way or the other about either. Brat asks, is it normal for for a flat ear piercing to hurt for a week after it's done? Absolutely. It's a puncture wound. All of them are gonna hurt. If they don't hurt, wow, you're lucky. Piercings are gonna hurt even a week after they've been done. Not to like an extreme degree. If it's hurting at an extreme degree, you might wanna see if anything is irritating it to that point, but there's a possibility that they will hurt at just a week old. Hey Dorella asks, are you planning on stretching your ears any further? At this time, no, but I did also say that I wasn't gonna stretch them anymore past 00 gauge, and now we're at 1/2 inch, so I'm not gonna say I won't do it, but for the moment, I don't have any plans. Amy asks, can you be allergic to some sort of piercing material? My lobes felt attacked by surgical steel. Absolutely, you can be allergic to any kind of metal. I have a video about it. Go check it out. Freshie asks, would you stack any of your existing piercings or get a new stacked piercing? So when you say stacked, are we talking about jewelry or are we talking about a bunch of little piercings near each other? Because there are two different ways that you can take stacked piercings. The jewelry one, you can take like putting a bunch of tiny hoops into one piercing. A lot of people do that with stretched lobes. Or are you talking about, like say with lobe piercings, getting a bunch of like little ones intermittently placed in there in some kind of pattern? Either way, I would do it if I had the space to do it for the piercing wise. Jewelry, I'd love to do it. So it kind of just depends on which one you're talking about. Alexa asks, how to find a good tattoo artist? Word of mouth, reviews online, social media. Those are like the big three. I also did a video on it. Go check it out. Fun Ghoul's Child asks, how old do you think someone should be when they make a decision about a tattoo? At least of legal age, because personally, if I had gotten any of the tattoos that I thought about when I was like 15 or 16 years old, yikes, I'd be getting them covered or removed. So I definitely think you should be like considered an adult, so of age, be able to make decisions for yourself before you go through that process, because it is pretty permanent. The Power of Editing asks, is there such a thing as having too many piercings? I think that's a personal preference. I don't know, it's kind of a gray area. I personally think what I have now is not too many, but to someone else, it may be. Dainty Line Design says, I still cannot change my forward helix, send help. Once you find that help, let me know, because I also have not changed it on my own yet. Casey asks, how do you apply makeup, skincare, and sunscreen around piercings and keep them clean? This is a pretty difficult one. Now what I'm about to say is for a healed piercing. If I have a piercing that is not healed, like a facial piercing that is not healed, I don't do this. This is just for healed piercings. I just apply everything as is, as if my piercings are part of my skin. But then once I've applied everything, so whether it's makeup, lotion, sunscreen, whatever, once I've finished applying all of that, I go back in with a Q-tip and usually spray one end of it with saline solution, and I clean up around the piercing. Not so much so that it like wipes away whatever is on the perimeter of the jewelry, but whatever is actually on top of the jewelry, and I clean it up a little bit. That's what I do with a healed piercing. If I have one that is still healing, then I take a little bit more precaution. If I end up getting any of those products on the piercing, I immediately clean it. Not wait until I'm completely done applying things, I immediately clean it. So that's what I do. Other people may be a little bit more careful with applying things, but I'm just like, it'll be fine. It's good. And the last question is from Lil Mac. How do your lobe piercings go with your stretched ears? Do they get angry, etc.? They actually don't, surprisingly. Like, clarification, all of my lobe piercings were done at Claire's. I know. I didn't know any better when I got them done. We're gonna move on. But you may notice that some of these lobe piercings are pretty close to my stretched lobes. Like they're right where the silicone tunnel ends and then all of a sudden this jewelry begins. They've never been angry about anything. They've never gotten irritated with my stretched lobes. I don't know if that's something that I got lucky on, but I have never noticed a problem. So that is it for July's Body Mod Q&A. Thank you again to everyone who submitted a question. I love doing these types of videos. Again, if you would like to submit a question for August's Body Mod Q&A, leave them in the comments below or follow me on Instagram and wait for me to put the little question box up on my stories. Special thank you to my patrons. You can help support the channel on Patreon while having access to videos early, viewing patron-only content, and more. But that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a big ol' thumbs up. Go on down there and hit that subscribe button, wherever it may be, because I don't know, even though I do. This is just my shtick now. Also hit that notification bell in case you want to know when I upload, and in case YouTube wants to let you know when I upload, because I would really appreciate it. And until next time, bye guys!